Meet Colin, the man behind the channel The Bearded Explorers, who in October 2023 posted a spine-tingling video called Explore an Abandoned Hospital at Night. His content usually revolves around venturing through forgotten and crumbling sites across the UK. On this particular occasion, Colin set his sights on a derelict medical facility known as the Royal Hospital Haslar, located in England. Constructed in 1753, the building holds the distinction of being Britain's first naval hospital, and was at one point both the largest hospital and the largest brick structure in the entire country. Following an extraordinary 256 years of continuous use, it finally shuttered in 2009, making it the last military hospital in Britain to close. Yet, according to local folklore and accounts from former employees, not every resident has moved on. The hospital is said to harbor multiple spirits, among them a nurse who took her own life, a young girl who perished in a fire, and countless patients who drew their final breaths within those walls. Colin kicks off his visit by slipping into the building through the basement, noting that security personnel have grown far more alert to unauthorized visitors lately. Working his way toward the main entrance, he pauses to highlight the building's rich history, drawing attention to the old train tracks still embedded in the floor, once used to carry wounded sailors up from the docks.
Trains, carriages, I don't know. On here, if they could be treated, they would be taken into the wards, and if they couldn't, they would go straight down to the church and get buried. And there is a mass grave out there. 10,000 people buried in that area. Absolutely mind-blowing. Oh, this is so creepy. Oh, there's a bat. A little bat flying around. It's eerily quiet in here, but you could hear a pin drop. Literally, there's no wind out there today.
But this eerie yet relatively calm start is about to be shattered. Barely 5 minutes into his nighttime walk through the corridors, Colin encounters the first in a long series of events he simply cannot explain.
I can't help but feel that there's somebody walking right behind me. It's really, really creepy. And what we're going to do, we're going to walk through this area and we're going to go into the gymnasium, which is up here on the left. And we're going to have a look in there first, and then we're going to go upstairs and check out all the MRI scanners. Okay, that was weird. That door has just closed. But there is absolutely no wind in here whatsoever. What the hell was that? Okay, that was really, really creepy. Okay, I'm going to get out of this area because that was actually really scary.
Rattled but determined, Colin pushes forward despite the unsettling door movement, heading toward the hospital's well-known spiral staircase, a feature he's particularly fond of. It's here that he recounts part of the building's sorrowful past.
And like I said before, there is a very sad story to a nurse who actually committed suicide here. Her name was Mary. After the death of a child that she was caring for, and she jumped from the top.
Leaving the staircase behind, Colin steps into a room containing a red chair and floral curtains, and something immediately catches his attention. Those curtains are gently shifting, yet there's no breeze, no draft, and no open window anywhere in sight.
It's really bizarre because there's not even a window open here. Why is that curtain moving? Okay, don't think about it too much, because like I said, I am.
Doing his best to hold it together, Colin heads down into the hospital's basement. While picking his way through the lower levels, he suddenly stops dead in his tracks at the sound of something he can't identify.
Let's go down this way. The fuck was that? Must have been a pigeon. Oh yeah, probably was coming through that window. There's no wind today, but it is really, really raining hard out there now. Oh, there's always a creepy chair.
Pressing further into the basement, Colin comes across a particularly disturbing find, a preserved liver sitting inside a clear container, believed to be a leftover artifact from the hospital's old medical museum. Then, almost on cue, that same unexplained noise returns, louder and more recognizable than before, and Colin wastes no time getting out of there. Heading back up to the scanning rooms, he runs into something that stops him cold.
Still crazy to think that all of this stuff is in here, all the paperwork. Oh my God, what the hell was that? It felt like I bumped into someone, but there's no one there. Whoa, okay, freak out. Whew, okay. It felt like I bumped into someone, but there's nobody there. So I feel like I want to check every room now just to make sure there's no one in here, because that was really weird. Hello? Okay. That was weird. God, why do I do this to myself? Supporting the rhino. That sounded like footsteps. That really sounded like footsteps. Like that, what I'm doing now, that's exactly what I just heard. I'm sure I just heard that. Is it that one? Yes. What the fuck was that? Okay, that was weird.
The strain of those recurring footsteps is written all over Colin's face as he begins methodically checking each room. The sheer weight of being completely alone inside this vast, decaying building, possibly sharing it with something unseen, is clearly getting to him. He searches and finds nothing, yet presses on. Then comes the most bone-chilling stretch of the entire night, when Colin arrives at a specific hallway, the very same corridor where he once photographed what appeared to be the figure of a small girl.
Basically what happened is, and I said it in my last video, I was taking some pictures about here of me standing there with a GoPro on my head looking towards the camera this way. You could quite distinctively see what looks like a little girl stood around about here, like there somewhere. If you look closely, it almost looks like she's turned around and she's turned her head looking towards me. Now those pictures have not been messed around with. That is pure as you can get, and I know that's real for 100% fact. That is real. It might be shadows, I don't know, but it looks too much like a little girl to me. Right, I think this is the way out here. Right, I don't know if you heard that then, but that fucking sounded like... Hello? This is absolute bullshit. There is no way I just fucking heard that. I'm sorry, I'm swearing.
What unfolds next may well be the single most terrifying moment of Colin's entire visit.
Oh, fucking hell. Fucking hell, it sounded like a little girl. I don't know what it was, I don't know. It sounded like a little girl. Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! Fuck! Oh, fuck! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? There is no way that has just happened. There is no way that is... Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What the hell? What the hell? Right, you've just seen that with your own eyes. I have not touched that. There is nobody else here. What the fuck was that? How the hell did that happen? Okay.
The moment Colin steps into a room, the door behind him is wide open, but within mere seconds, it slams violently shut with tremendous force, as though an invisible hand drove it closed. Completely horrified, Colin bolts out of the room, only to immediately witness yet another door moving by itself. The activity then intensifies when an unseen object crashes to the floor without any visible cause. These events pile on top of one another in rapid succession, leaving Colin in a state of full-blown panic, frantically trying to rationalize what he's experiencing while the situation spirals beyond any logical explanation. At this point, thoroughly overwhelmed, Colin resolves to get out, but on his way toward the exit, he stumbles upon one final encounter that sends him sprinting from the building.
Oh God.
Did you catch that? If it slipped past you, here's a breakdown of what went down. While checking out another section of the hospital, Colin notices a cupboard with its door firmly shut. He glances away for just a moment, and when he looks back, the door is now hanging open with nobody else around to have touched it. That inexplicable shift sends Colin into immediate panic and he flees the spot entirely. Yet, a combination of dread and curiosity pulls him back, and when he returns to take a closer look, he finds the cupboard door has somehow swung shut again, restored to exactly the position he originally found it in. This unexplained movement, paired with the unsettling sounds Colin describes as resembling people in a violent altercation, becomes the final straw that convinces him to abandon the exploration for good. Colin eventually makes it back to his car, visibly shaken and clearly emotional after everything he endured inside those walls. Whether he truly crossed paths with the spirit said to haunt the place, or something else altogether, remains open to interpretation. But what isn't in question is that his solo late-night visit to this crumbling hospital produced a string of deeply unsettling, unexplained occurrences that left him terrified and determined never to set foot inside again. As the Royal Hospital Haslar continues its slow decay while awaiting possible redevelopment, it stands as a quiet monument to centuries of pain, recovery, and perhaps the enduring presence of those who simply never found their way out. 27th, 2025, a creator known as T.O., the person behind the channel, My Name's T.O., posted a video that opened the way most of his content does. He was out in Leadville, Colorado, a mountain town sitting so high in the Rockies that even a light walk can have you struggling to catch your breath. What began as a day full of exploration and good company, though, would gradually turn into something a lot more unsettling. Tito was out there in his self-converted 2001 Ford E250 van alongside his cat Lars, and some friends had joined him for a hike that promised sweeping scenery and plenty of laughs. The trail looked approachable enough, but the elevation wasted no time reminding the whole group exactly where they were.
He's jogging with a donkey. I thought me and Lars were like a unique pair. That's so sick. What's up, guys? My name's Teo, and I travel full-time in my self-converted 2001 Ford E250 with my cat Lars. Right now I'm in Colorado, Leadville to be specific, and I am on a hike with a few friends with this beautiful freaking view. I mean, you can't really beat that. But yeah, we got a lot planned while I'm here. I was in California for a minute, and I just decided to drive down here. We have a lot of fun planned, so can't wait to show you guys some of the stuff that goes on.
They picked their way across loose gravel and slippery sections with the kind of easy energy that only shows up when people genuinely feel comfortable around each other. When rain moved in later in the day, it felt less like an interruption and more like a fitting detail. Just one more layer of the experience. After wrapping up the hike, everyone headed back toward town, and eventually the group rolled into a new campsite.
All right, so we just got back from town. We are now on our way to a magical site, apparently, that Riley and Bunny drove ahead to find, and now we're all following them. So apparently it's a great spot. We'll see. Oh, those aren't deer.
I'm not sure what those are.
Those are rams.
Rams?
Yeah, 100%. They got the swirly horns.
I can't see them.
Did a good job, Riley.
Yeah, well, me and Bunny.
You and Bunny, good job. So I think tonight we're gonna do a fire, and yeah, I think that's all we got planned for right now. How you feeling, Collie?
Good.
Good?
Definitely longhorn sheep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
beautiful. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a fire right there.
Are you out of the camera? There you are, friend.
He's gonna cross the road. They're staring at us.
Riley and Bunny had scoped it out ahead of time and vouched for it being an ideal spot, and when they first arrived, it really did seem that way. But when morning came, the mood had shifted entirely. Everyone gathered outside their vans and started comparing notes. Each of them had heard something strange during the night. Not the ordinary sounds of the forest settling or animals moving through the brush in the distance. These were footsteps, deliberate movement, something that felt purposeful. Nobody had seen a thing though, at least not yet. That's when Bunny remembered the trail cam she'd positioned under Riley's van the previous evening. She'd set it up hoping to spot some local wildlife, maybe bighorn sheep, maybe a fox wandering through. What it had actually recorded was something else entirely.
I caught the tail end of it. Are they gonna walk past again? Yep, they just kept walking.
Look at those shoes. Those what?
Yeah, those are black shoes.
Those are sandals.
Or sandals?
Yeah, and those are gray sweatpants. What are they doing?
What are they doing? Are they kicking my tire?
They're doing something.
Dude, and I thought I heard something messing around outside.
I did too.
See, I don't like that because I heard stuff last night too, but I was like, I'm not gonna let myself get scared.
We're not staying here tonight, guys.
Of course not. Absolutely not. This morning, we all woke up. We all got out of bed. We were starting to make breakfast, and then we were just kind of chatting, and we're talking about how we all were hearing things last night in this very private area that we're parked at. We were all hearing stuff last night, and it just so happens that Bunny put out a trail cam under Riley's van, pointing at her van last night, because yesterday we saw a group of bighorn sheep, so we were thinking maybe we'll see more critters, squirrels, stuff like that. But as we were talking about us hearing stuff last night, she went to go check the trail cam. There were literally 2 people we saw walking through our camp, and they stayed in our camp, while we were all in our vans. We didn't see them. We all heard stuff, but we didn't see anything. And that is just really creepy because we are here, literally. Why would someone be in our camp? 2 people at that. We don't know who it was, but yeah, we decided that we're not gonna stay here again. I've seen enough horror movies to know how that turns out. So yeah, we're gonna make breakfast real quick since we're already started, and we're gonna hit the road.
As they watched the footage back, every suspicion they had crystallized into something undeniable. 2 strangers had walked straight through their camp. They weren't just cutting across on their way somewhere. One of them actually kicked the side of Tito's van. The other moved in and out of frame wearing baggy pants and slides, showing up more than once from completely different directions. Nobody in the group had reacted at the time because nobody had known it was happening. That realization hit hard. These 2 people had come and gone like ghosts, their motives completely unknown, and a place that had felt remote and safe now carried a very different feeling. After that, the group's plans quietly changed. Nobody was interested in spending another night there. Still, there was breakfast to get through, and Tito wasn't going to let the morning start from a place of dread. Everyone came together, shared some food, and did their best to let the tension dissolve. The wilderness had always been a central part of this kind of life on the road, but this particular moment was a sharp reminder that sometimes the thing you can't explain isn't lurking out in the trees. Sometimes it just walks quietly through your camp while you're asleep. What did you make of this one? Drop your thoughts below. June 20th, 2020, an urban explorer going by the name Dave decided to check out what he believed to be a derelict mansion in Kirkby. Known for tracking down forgotten and overlooked places, he figured this would be just another straightforward outing. What actually unfolded was something far beyond what he had bargained for.
Wonder. Church. Can't go in it unfortunately because it's an active church. I thought that was some fella living over there to Bloom. Wow. Sun's really bright today. Yeah, the first church that was here was actually in the Doomsday Book.
Rather than a mansion, the site turned out to be an old abandoned church with a cemetery surrounding it. Things started off pretty normally. Dave took his time looking over the outside of the building and wandering through the quiet grounds of the graveyard nearby. He then moved away from the main structure and ventured into a stretch of woodland that had gradually swallowed up the property over the years. Pushing further along the overgrown terrain, he eventually stumbled upon a second building. Partially consumed by vegetation, the structure was in a terrible state of decay. Large sections of the roof had caved in, and what looked like it had once served as a kitchen had crumbled down to little more than shattered walls, scattered debris, and rotting timber.
Building there, look at that. And here, house. But it looks pretty much all boarded up. Let's have a look at this one here. Keep the caravan. There's a path there. That leads round to where I'm going. Have a little look in here. Yeah, I can get in it. I need my light. I'm in a little house, but it's really dodgy. I mean, look at that kip of it. Oh, show me light down. Look at the floors there. So there's gonna be a basement of some sort. There's no floor gone on that. That's been the kitchen, you can see the tile. Something through there as well. So, let's have a look here. No, look at the hole in the floor there, look. You just don't know. It's on brick, I'm on brick there, so. Wow. This place is out there. The old couch. Wow. Look at that sign on the ornament on the wall. There, see? Oh, that isn't the corner.
Pressing on inside, Dave continued to document just how far gone the interior really was. Parts of the flooring had buckled and collapsed, leaving gaping holes underfoot, and what may have once been a living area was now completely gutted. The whole building felt dangerously unstable, and every single step had to be taken with care. Under normal circumstances, a structure in that kind of shape would be more than enough reason to turn around and walk out.
That's where the stairs have been. You've got a pole there. Right, let's have a little look. Come on, let's look a few. I don't know, there's a basement or anything. No, there's nowhere to fall down. It's pretty much closed, isn't it?
However, noticing subtle signs of recent human presence, Dave made the call to keep going. He carefully picked his way through the broken floors and crumbling rooms, finished his sweep of the structure, and eventually made his way back outside. With that part of the exploration wrapped up, he started down a narrow bush path leading away from the site, and that's when things took a turn nobody could have predicted.
Let's do it. See where we go. You can't get in there. It's just overgrown, the entrance. This seems to be a well-trodden path. Maybe people walk the dogs up here. You alright, mate? You alright, mate?
Yeah, fine.
How come you're here like this? Alright, mate. Can you get up there, can you?
Huh?
Can you get up there? Is it all blocked off?
Yeah, it's totally blocked off.
I'll have to go around the side then. Alright, mate.
Coming around a bend in the trail, Dave suddenly found himself looking at a man seated alone on a chair, right there in the middle of the bush. The man appeared to be almost entirely without clothing. The sight was so jarring that Dave's immediate instinct was to ask if the man was okay. Getting no real answer and feeling deeply uneasy about the whole situation, he quickly put some distance between himself and the man and got out of there. Strange as it already was, something pulled Dave back to that same spot just a few minutes later. He returned to find the man completely gone. Nothing remained except the chair that had been sitting there.
How can I get into that puppy? Right, he should have walked out, he put a clean top on some sort. I'm going to have a look over here. Very good. What the freaking hell was he doing? Why would you just sit off of a stool in I've seen some things, but that's got to be the weirdest one I have ever seen. He was just sitting there.
The whole encounter left Dave genuinely shaken. Rather than simply moving on, he did something most urban explorers wouldn't think to do. He called the police and handed over the footage he had captured throughout the incident. What had begun as a casual visit to an abandoned property had taken a sharp and deeply unsettling detour into something nobody could quite explain. And it leaves you with one straightforward question. If you had been the one walking that trail, would you have done the same? A woman named Julieta posted a video that touched the hearts of countless viewers. She explains that she recently lost her beloved dog, her closest companion, and what her living room security camera recorded is something she never thought she'd experience. See for yourself what the footage reveals. In the recording, her remaining dogs are running around and barking as they normally would, everything appearing completely ordinary, until a white mist suddenly drifts through the room. It moves directly through the middle of the other dogs, and for a brief moment it almost seems to take on a recognizable form. For Julieta, this is no random occurrence. She's convinced the shape resembles her dog that had passed. Maybe it isn't something to be afraid of, more something that defies easy explanation. Because the connection we form with the ones we love can sometimes feel like it reaches far beyond the moment we say goodbye. Around 2 in the morning, a woman phoned a friend to get the okay to check out an old cabin, a secluded structure tucked away on private property deep in the forest. The building had sat empty for years, with nothing but wildlife passing through. Once inside, the group came across a few unsettling things, though nothing that truly shook them to the core. The real strangeness didn't begin until they were on their way out. Riding in the bed of the truck, someone pulled out a camera and started filming the drive home. That's when their recording picked up something that stopped everyone cold. A blood-curdling scream. The woman described it as sounding identical to her own mother's voice, yet her mother was seated right there in the truck with her the entire time. To this day, nobody in that group has been able to figure out who or what was responsible for that sound. Tim Saber is the man at the center of this story, a night security guard who took on a position watching over an abandoned warehouse that still holds a number of valuable items inside. He began posting footage of strange incidents to his TikTok, all of them occurring during his overnight shifts. Not long after he started the job, Tim found himself dealing with bizarre, deeply unsettling events that he simply couldn't explain. Eventually, he became convinced that whatever was causing the disturbances was originating from the attic. When he finally worked up the nerve to go up and investigate, what he found shook him to his core. And from that point forward, things only escalated. Tim says he was physically attacked on multiple occasions, always from behind. Then one night, he heard those familiar strange sounds again, pulled out his phone, and hit record.
doing this.
Hello? Shit. What the fuck? Whoa. Hello?
As he moved through the space, a mannequin suddenly lurched and toppled over on its own. Almost immediately after, a large framed piece of glass came crashing down and exploded across the floor. Then, he heard it, the sound of a woman weeping, followed by a low, grating, raspy voice cutting through the silence. Tim didn't stick around. He ran. Several weeks went by, and he was back for another night shift when things took yet another disturbing turn.
Hello?
Peering into the darkness, he spotted something perched on top of a metal cart, a shadowy shape that resembled a human figure, slowly drawing its arms inward. The moment he switched on his flashlight, it had vanished completely. That night was the breaking point. He handed in his resignation the very next day. So was any of this genuine, or was the whole thing an elaborate setup? That's entirely up to you. This guy has a passion for venturing into forgotten and derelict locations. It's not his main gig, but every time he heads out, he documents the whole experience and posts it for his audience. In this particular outing, he decides to check out an abandoned cement factory, and things take a very unexpected turn.
Cazzo è sta roba? No! Kev, siamo sospesi nel vuoto. Zio caro.
The facility was completely deserted, sitting deep in the middle of nowhere, well away from any major roads or populated areas. There were no traffic sounds, no voices, none of that background noise you'd associate with civilization. They figured they had the whole place to themselves, but while they were circling the outside looking for another entry point, something caught them completely off guard.
Ma cos'è? Ah no, sì, dove eravamo prima. Fermo, figa. Andiamo via, cazzo. Via. Sei fermato?
That man broke into a full sprint straight toward them. Nico mentioned that his friend actually tripped right after they cut the camera, but still managed to get clear. So who exactly was this guy? A security guard? That seems unlikely. The walls were covered in graffiti and artwork, clear evidence that people had been coming and going through this place for a long time without any interference. Then who was he? Locations like this have a tendency to attract all kinds of illegal activity. Gang gatherings, drug dealings, people living rough, and plenty more. It's entirely possible the man chasing them was simply someone who didn't want witnesses around. That's just speculation, of course. The truth remains a mystery. What's important is that they got out safely, and it's a solid reminder of just how dangerous these kinds of places can really be. In August 2019, a YouTuber who goes by Jonah, widely recognized for his channel Exploration Unknown, made his way to Central Ontario, Canada, with the goal of documenting one of the area's most notorious locations. The locals refer to it as the Devil's Elbow. The story behind that name traces back to a mansion that once belonged to a high priest of an occult order. People in the surrounding community believe dark rituals had taken place within its walls, and to this day, not a single person has managed to stay living there. The mansion stands apart from other derelict buildings in ways that are hard to ignore. Sections of it showed signs of renovation, fresh coats of paint, a functioning refrigerator, even construction materials scattered around, all pointing to someone having made genuine attempts to restore it. Yet, every single time, those efforts came to nothing. The place would always end up abandoned once more. Jonah arrived at the house late in the evening, camera rolling as he moved cautiously through the crumbling interior. Things seemed still and undisturbed at first, until soft, unexplained sounds began drifting down from the floor above.
I think I've been hearing stuff upstairs, but I'm hoping, and I mean this, I really hope that it's paranormal and not someone freaking in here. Hello? I'm not here to bother you. Is anybody in here?
Telling himself it was probably just the wind, Jonah pushed forward and headed upstairs, but then the disturbances shifted back downstairs, almost as though something was deliberately playing games with him.
My keys are making noises. Freaking somebody down there, dude. Come on, quit messing with me. I'm just trying to freaking... I'll leave. There's someone else in here.
He eventually made his way back down to get a closer look, only to find himself outmaneuvered a second time.
Hello?
Against all expectation, the sounds migrated back upstairs once again. Then came the moment that drove Jonah straight out the front door.
Hello? Is there somebody here? I'm not here to bother or rob anything. I was just here exploring. I thought it was a band. Oh my God! Oh shit!
Reacting to the noises that had been tormenting him throughout the visit, Jonah spoke aloud, saying he wasn't there to cause any disruption. He never got to finish that thought. A man's voice suddenly exploded from somewhere on the upper floor, screaming, "I'm gonna kill you!" With his pulse hammering, Jonah bolted from the building and didn't stop until he was back behind the wheel of his car. Afterward, he admitted he couldn't say for certain whether the voice belonged to a squatter, a fellow explorer, or something he couldn't quite explain. But in that instant, he had no doubt that someone had been in that house with him the entire time, shadowing his movements and deliberately trying to drive him out. What makes it all the more disturbing is how out of character that kind of threat would be for another urban explorer, whether it was someone protecting a makeshift hideout or a stranger with intentions far more sinister. Jonah may never get a clear answer, but the one thing that can't be disputed is this: he was not alone in that mansion. The following clip comes from Exploration Unknown, a US-based urban exploration and paranormal channel operated by a creator named John, who focuses on derelict industrial facilities, former slaughterhouses, and places carrying dark histories of violence and neglect. The date is May 16th, 2021. Within the crumbling shell of an old American slaughterhouse later repurposed as a metalworks facility, rusted hallways, abandoned freezer units, and waterlogged floors set the stage for what becomes one of John's most nerve-wracking visits.
Welcome back. to another director's cut. And before we get into this one, I just want to say, if you have not seen this original video, please link it down below. You can go watch it. I like how Tim waved with his pack of cigarettes. I don't think he was expecting me to do that. But this is a classic. This is the old slaughterhouse that actually had wound up being a bunch of stuff, but notably a slaughterhouse was what it was a long time ago. Kind of a spooky place too. It's kind of in a weird location, not a great part of town, and it's pretty obvious that there have been people in and out of there. So like that aspect of being on edge was definitely there. But this place, you know, of course I was here with Tim from Breaking the Shell and James the Fam. Of course Tim no longer does YouTube, and James does, but I have not had the pleasure of hanging out with James for quite some time. So I know he's still out there doing some fun stuff, and I'm sure we'll get together at some point. But anyways, this place, that building right there I just looked at, it's like offices and stuff. It had a weird, like, you were being followed everywhere you went there feeling to it. And this place is extremely massive, to be honest. There's so many big warehouse buildings and little, like, mechanical room buildings and stuff. And now you can just see these are so big, my lighting can't even penetrate, you know. I have to get close.
John, accompanied by Tim and James, enters the sprawling structure through a single access point and works their way through rotting offices, metalwork areas, and partially flooded freezer rooms. The only sounds cutting through the quiet are distant metallic clangs trailing them further into the building, an eerie suggestion that something may be matching their every step.
Back and forth, which was kind of weird. And I don't know, I can't explain that, but it was a little freaky. Of course, James is going to grab everything and play with it. But yeah, I wish this place was accessible nowadays. I mean, it was a cool vibe, creepy as a heck. I mean, this place had it all, you know. It had all kinds of corners and buildings, and just the whole ambiance was there. And I loved it. I wish I got to do some more there. I don't know what I was zooming into there. You can't even see it. You can see we're outside, and it just keeps going. It's a complex. And there's virtually just one way in and out, so that always plays a huge role in the creep factor. Is you only have one way in, one way out, so that always kind of messes with your head a little bit when you're in these places filming. It's like you don't know if you're going to open this door and there'd be 20 people in there sleeping or hiding out. You don't know what people's intentions. So this looked like a meat processing room here to me. The way that sink is over there and everything, this is probably where they butchered the meat. Maybe. I could be wrong, but
In one of the meat processing areas, a heavy overhead hoist chain begins moving on its own, slowly at first, then swinging in wider arcs. There's no breeze, no draft, no one near it. All three men step back in silence, eyes locked on the chain as though something invisible has decided to make itself known. It lasts only a moment, but the weight of it lingers.
2 meter lit up and stayed lit up the whole time. So, like, normally when something like that happens, I look for, like, the high tension power lines, like the big, if you know what I'm talking about, it's like the big towering things that take power lines, like over mountain range for long distances, long distance power line. I don't know exactly what you call them, but I just, like, high frequency or whatever, normally that's a culprit that makes equipment kind of go wonky. But there was none there, and that's the crazy part. Is like we're literally in the middle of the forest, on a peninsula surrounded by water. So I really don't know. I mean, the only explanation I know is there's like a nuclear power plant and weapons facility kind of nearby, but not on that spot where we were at. I don't know. Like, the REM pod was going off, but it wasn't like the K2 meter stayed lit up, but the REM pod would go on and off, stay on forever, and then go away. I mean, it was insane. It was absolutely bonkers, and it's only in this one spot on this one memorial. So I ain't gonna spoil any more for the video, but it was, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was gonna pull out the echo box, but like the REM pod wouldn't stop going off and bringing us back over. And we have a theory, which you'll see in the video when it comes out. We had a theory to it, but
Out on a narrow concrete ledge surrounded by standing water, the K2 meter starts going haywire. Seconds later, the REM pod begins triggering repeatedly with nothing around to set it off. The energy in the air shifts entirely, as though the location itself is responding to their arrival. A near slip on the slick surface reminds them the danger here isn't purely paranormal.
So nothing was there, but look at executive desk. Somebody wrote "die" in it. But yeah, it's that scared me. That scared me now. I didn't expect Tim to be right there behind me. We normally split off and go different spots, you know, when we film together. But yeah, I'm not sure what these are. Like, what did they do in these little things here? If anybody knows, please comment. I know it's some kind of, I'm trying to read it, St. Charles. I have no idea. It kind of looks sciencey. I know there's a sprinkler riser right there. Of course, I have to look through things because I'm nosy. But yeah, this was a fun adventure. I remember I think we went to the Greenback Castle the same time. So it was a good time. And I remember that there was a room back there that we couldn't find.
Heading back inside, John wrenches open a warped attic door. As the footage stabilizes and the camera finds its focus, John jolts backward, insisting he caught a glimpse of a figure standing right behind him in the dark. Tim and James pile in immediately, but the space is completely vacant. Dust particles drift through the beam of the torch, low rafters press down from above, and the silence that settles in afterward feels like something is holding its breath.
Just kind of gave me the creeps. I kept feeling like somebody or something was up there with me. And I feel like something happened up here, but I can't remember. I just remember the creep fact. I feel like somebody might have been, I mean, who knows, somebody could have been hiding from us up here. You know, if you were living here, you know, finding a place to stay, it's very possible that, you know, three men with tons of lighting coming through, you might think are like some kind of authorities or cops or something. See, that stuff's from it being a metal place, like a metal manufacturer, which makes a lot of sense. I think originally it was a slaughterhouse, because that's, from what I understand, it dates back to the late 1800s as a slaughterhouse. Like maybe that some of them really old buildings, but then it turned into like a metal place. I don't know. Who knows? I know it was both, and I don't know the time frames of each one. But just run into more dead ends. But we are coming close to an end here.
In the heart of downtown Cleveland looms a forgotten colossus, the Rockefeller Building, a once celebrated address with roots stretching back to the early 1900s. It used to house powerful law firms, financial institutions, and well-regarded professionals. Now it stands empty and silent, its windows black, its corridors stripped bare, a monument to architectural ambition slowly surrendering to ruin. On June 9th, 2025, urban explorer Chris, better known online as Urbex Hill, ventured inside to document whatever still remains. Since the building shuttered in 2022, its decline has picked up a frightening momentum. Redevelopment proposals have come and gone over the years, yet almost nothing has materialized. Inside, nature, neglect, and the passage of time have joined forces to dismantle what was once a landmark.
Breaking into Cleveland's historic Rockefeller Building on West 6th and Superior happened a little after 3 this morning. Video from our overnight news tracker shows some of the windows broken.
But perhaps the most devastating threat to the structure isn't decay or weather, it's people. Scrappers, vandals, and trespassers have ransacked the place, stripping it of copper, metal, and anything else worth taking. The damage is ongoing and brutal. Even so, Chris went in, not for the adrenaline or the views, but to create a record of what's still standing. At first, it seemed like any other abandoned space. That impression wouldn't hold for long.
Someone must have just recently pissed on the ground right here. That's gross. Wow, those are all bullet holes. The coronavirus. I think this when this place shut down was during the pandemic. People really in here shooting. It's a 9mm. That's crazy. It's crazy that places like this with so much detail get destroyed and demolished. Bro, more bullet casings. Look at that. That's crazy.
Evidence of past violence surfaced almost immediately. Bullet holes, shell casings, and unmistakable signs of gunfire scattered throughout the building's interior. These weren't just markers of neglect, they were red flags. The weight of that realization hit Chris hard. He wasn't simply moving through a crumbling old structure, he was walking ground where real violence had taken place. And yet, instead of heading back toward the exit, he pressed further in. That's what curiosity does. It rarely stops to consult reason.
The fuck is that? That's crazy.
High above the city streets, there was a brief moment of relief. Chris reached the rooftop and took in Cleveland's sprawling skyline. For just a few seconds, a sense of calm cut through everything else. But it wouldn't last. Something changed from that point on. The quiet stopped feeling like peace and started feeling like anticipation.
Up here recently. Smells like cigarettes in here. Somebody's pills. They ripped the label off. Somebody was like using needles up here too, it looks like. Somebody's here. I heard something. if that was somebody.
As he made his way back down into the building, the atmosphere grew heavier. Faint, unexplained sounds drifted through the corridors. Soft at first, then suddenly sharp. Chris couldn't determine whether they were coming from somewhere outside or from somewhere much closer. Each footstep became more calculated, his flashlight sweeping more carefully. The possibility of running into someone, particularly someone armed, was no longer a distant concern. It had become immediate.
A lot of noise coming from the stairwell nearby on the 9th floor. Multiple voices and what sounded like music playing from a cell phone. So I quickly pressed record on my camera and turned my light off just in case they were hostile. Unfortunately, the camera audio was cutting in and out during the entire exploration, and it failed to capture the sound during this part. While sitting quietly in the dark, I listened, and they sounded like they might be fellow urban explorers. So I turned my light on and went to the stairwell to see who they were. When I got to the door, I unintentionally scared a woman that was with the group, and she screamed and ran up the stairs yelling help. That's when one of the guys racked his gun and shouted, "Who's down there?" I replied that I was just taking pictures of the building. It quickly became clear they weren't explorers, they were scrappers, and they were also using drugs while stripping the place. They began yelling and threatening to shoot me if I didn't leave. I started arguing back at them, saying I have a gun too, and that they needed to relax. After a bit of tense back and forth, I told them I'm leaving soon and I won't bother them. I then left the stairwell and went down the hall to a different stairwell so I could get to the lower section of the building to get away from them. As I walked away, I could hear what sounded like at least 4 people yelling and cussing about me being there. One of them was even talking about me. This whole interaction made me pretty nervous, especially considering the number of bullet holes and shell casings I had already found scattered throughout the building. It was clear that these scrappers come here often, and were mad that I was in there, and it wouldn't surprise me if they fire off rounds to scare off explorers or anyone else who enters the building. Anyways, I just continued to explore the lower levels of the building, hoping they stay in the upper levels.
This place is crazy. Completely flooded.
You have to acknowledge the sheer nerve required to keep moving in a situation like that. Chris had every justification to walk away, but he held his ground and kept his composure, even as unease seeped into every corner of every hallway. The further he pushed, the stronger the feeling grew that someone, possibly more than one person, was still somewhere in that building with him. And that feeling wasn't wrong. The closing moments of the exploration brought a different kind of threat. Not just uncertainty, but the distinct sensation of being watched. Chris navigated his way out carefully, sidestepping any confrontation, keeping panic at bay. He got out unseen and uninjured, but not unchanged. because the tension doesn't dissolve once the camera stops rolling. The silence he moved through was never truly empty, and the dread he felt was never just in his head. In buildings like this, the danger isn't always obvious when you first walk in, but it's there, and it doesn't always leave room for a second attempt. Chris slipped out quietly, fortunate to carry nothing more than the weight of the experience. Not every explorer gets to leave on those terms. For centuries, the people of Sardinia have passed down tales of enormous beings who once walked their land. Local legend holds that giants roamed the island in ancient times, and given the massive stone ruins scattered across the region, it's hard to completely dismiss the idea. But it wasn't until 1979 that things got really interesting. During a dig beneath a small church, workers reportedly unearthed skeletal remains of extraordinary size, some allegedly reaching up to 12 feet tall.
Supposed to finally get access to it.
Here's where the story takes a strange turn. Those bones were moved inside the church almost immediately, and by the following morning, they were gone without a trace. Ever since, there have been numerous reports of additional giant remains being uncovered across the island, only to quietly disappear shortly after.
Individuals who worked on the excavation of the Nuragic ruins.
This right here is Lou Rock, a content creator who back in August 2018 posted a deeply unsettling video to his channel. For the past 8 years, his channel has been dedicated to venturing into abandoned and haunted locations, capturing strange moments, and sharing first-hand encounters with the paranormal. Though he once dismissed the idea entirely, Lou has since become firmly convinced that the boundary between life and death is far thinner than most people suspect. In this particular video, Lou and his friend Noah decide to investigate a notorious abandoned house with a genuinely dark and disturbing history. This wasn't just some random derelict building they stumbled across. It had once served as a hideout for members of the Hells Angels, where 3 of them allegedly took refuge after carrying out multiple murders before ultimately getting caught by authorities. The property has sat abandoned and rotting ever since. When Lou and Noah pulled up to the place, they immediately picked up on the unsettling energy hanging over it. Still, despite that creeping discomfort, they pressed on. What they had no idea about was just how much this visit was about to reveal.
So we're gonna take a walk back here. Yeah, so you can tell nobody's been in here in a while. I wish I could show you the outside because it's really overrun, overgrown with a lot of vegetation. You know, it'd be crazy if we found like some crazy stash of Hell's Angels, man. There's some hardcore dudes. This is definitely like a perfect place for some people to hang out. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff that sketches me out. It's a carpet rolled out on the floor, but this looks like something somebody would put here to like lay down or something. You know what I mean? To stay off of the floor.
Yeah.
Wonder what this hole in the ceiling is all about.
Yeah, there could be a stash like anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I'm always like on the lookout for some stashes. You never know.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We're definitely putting ourselves at risk for this one. Here we go. You want to go up there?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hello? Check first.
Anybody up here?
Police. Want to say we're police so that way they're gonna maybe give us the upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell these guys were rock and rollers.
Oh yeah, look at this. Is this like records?
Yeah, I think these are just record covers. I don't know if they got the records inside. Nah, it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, you could tell these guys were bikers. You know what this looks like?
What?
This is like a wool blanket almost.
Quite a few people here since then.
Yeah. Who knows?
There could be a stash in here somewhere.
Dude, who knows? The Hells Angels could still use this place for all we know. Alright, so you want to go check out this basement?
The moment they crossed the threshold, the house hit them with an overwhelming smell of rot and decay. Feeling relatively bold, Lou and Noah traded jokes about the property's grim past, laughing nervously as they moved through one dark room after another, half hoping to stumble onto some forgotten stash. After working their way through most of the building, they made the decision to head down into the basement, with absolutely no idea what was waiting for them down there.
See, hopefully we find some treasure down here. Yo, dude.
What?
Yo, dude. What? There's some freaking guy down here.
What do you mean there's some guy down there?
Okay, what the? Is this guy dead? cigarette is burning his pants. He passed out. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Dude, is that vomit in his mouth? Hey. Hey, bud, you alright? He's young. He don't look like he's breathing right. Hold my camera, please. I don't know.
Initially, both Lou and Noah feared the figure might not be alive at all. As Lou swept his flashlight across the space, he spotted a needle lying just a short distance from the man, which raised the gut-wrenching possibility that he had overdosed. Panic took hold as the two went back and forth about what to do next. Call for help? Try to rouse him? Throwing caution aside, they chose to move closer in hopes of making some kind of contact. But the nearer they got, the more everything shifted into something genuinely terrifying.
Yeah? You okay? Don't do any sudden movements here. Yo, man,
Dude.
I'm trying to help you here.
Dude, I'm getting ready to bounce.
I'm trying to help you out here, bro. Back up. I swear I'll kill you right here. Listen, you alright? Dude! Dude, I'm fucking stab the shit out of you, bro. Back the fuck up off of me, dude. Back the fuck up. I swear I'll kick you right in your face. Oh, yeah? You're gonna pull one out on me? I got some right here.
Dude, let's fucking bounce, bro.
Back there. I'll fucking kick you right in your face.
Let's just freaking get out of here. Dude, fucking leave him. Dude.
Yo, stay the fuck down.
Stay the fuck down there.
Get in the car, bro. Go get in the car.
Yeah, let's get out of here, bro.
Go get in the car. I need a light. Yo, get the light. I need the light.
Take your camera.
Get the fuck back, dude. Just get the fuck back. I'll kick you right in your face.
Dude,
I need a light. Yo, I got you on camera, dude. You do something, you're going to jail. I'm letting you know. Back the fuck up. I'm leaving, dude. Back the fuck up. Back the fuck up. I'll kick you right in your face. I'm good. Dude, get the fuck back. Yeah, it's funny? You think it's funny? Think it's funny? Think I'm fucking with you? Dude, go and get the fucking car running. If I let him get up the fucking stairs. You got the car? Get the car running, bro. Alright. Yo, get the fuck out of here.
It quickly became clear to Lou and Noah that this man was not in any kind of normal state. His behavior was erratic and deeply unsettling, and fear took over as the two slowly backed away, having no clue who this person was, what had brought him there, or what he was capable of doing. They managed to get out of the basement and out of the house without anything further happening, but both of them were completely rattled by the time they made it back to their car. The excitement they'd arrived with had been entirely replaced by dread. That encounter was a brutal reminder of just how real the risks of this kind of exploration can get. You truly never know what dangers or what kind of person might be lurking somewhere inside those crumbling, forgotten walls. YouTube channel Tom's Trails has built a following around outdoor adventure content, and on March 9th, 2025, Tom posted a video capturing his very first bivvy wild camp experience. Buzzing with anticipation but admittedly anxious, he headed deep into the forest alongside his friend Matt, planning to spend the night outdoors with nothing but the bare essentials. What was supposed to be a straightforward night in nature, though, would take a much darker turn. Tom had been eyeing these particular woods for a while, and everything lined up nicely. Temperatures sat at a mild 8 degrees Celsius. The sky was clear, and rain was almost completely off the table. Still, as he got his camp together, he couldn't quite shake an uneasy energy that seemed to hover over him, something he couldn't pin down. He chalked it up to beginner nerves and pushed on. The two of them got their bivvy bags sorted and cooked up a meal beside a small fire. The forest around them was strangely quiet, though the odd rustle and far-off animal call reminded them the woods were still alive. After dinner, they kicked back by the fire, soaking in that particular calm that only the wilderness can offer. For a while, everything felt just right, until it didn't. As the night wore on, an uncomfortable feeling settled over Tom, a creeping sense that something was watching him.
There's been some like deers and foxes running around. One got really close and then bolted and it hurt me move. Got a lot of stuff going on, but it's not been like scary. It's been quite nice and relaxing. It's been crazy warm as well.
The breeze had gone completely still, and all those familiar nighttime sounds had simply vanished, replaced by a hollow, pressing silence. He tried to brush it off as his mind playing tricks. Then the sounds began. Faint at first, barely audible beneath the pop and hiss of the fire, but they grew, strange noises threading through the trees. This wasn't the ordinary settling and shifting of a forest at night. These sounds had a pattern to them, twigs breaking in a slow, measured rhythm, as though something was moving just beyond the tree line, deliberately staying out of view. Tom and Matt looked at each other, saying nothing. They strained their ears, searching for some logical explanation, but nothing fit. Every time the noise seemed to trail off, another snap would follow, and each time it was a little closer than before. Tom kept telling himself it had to be a deer cutting through the undergrowth, but it didn't behave like one. Deer bolt when they sense people nearby. This was different. This felt calculated, like something circling their camp, sizing them up. He lay there wide awake, every faint sound pulling him further from sleep. Just as his eyes were finally starting to get heavy, something new broke the quiet, and this time it was right on top of them. A low, unmistakable shuffling sound just feet from where they lay. Tom froze, barely breathing, trying to process what he was hearing. And then he felt it. Something made contact with his bivy bag. Not the wind, not a branch. Something was physically there, just outside the thin fabric separating him from the dark. Then came the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps fading back into the trees. He wanted to write it off as wildlife, but animals don't behave that way. They don't approach with that kind of quiet intent, linger close enough to brush against someone, and then simply withdraw. Whatever had been at their camp that night had moved in with purpose, come within arm's reach, and then slipped back into the darkness without a sound. The remainder of the night passed in tense, uneasy quiet. Come morning, the woods looked completely ordinary, as though the night before had never happened. But Tom couldn't let it go that easily. He'd gone out there looking for his first taste of bivvy camping. What he got instead was an encounter with something in those trees. Something that moved with intention, watched from the shadows, and left no trace behind. He still has no answer for what it was. What he does know is that those particular woods won't be seeing him again anytime soon. Posted on October 6th, 2019 to the YouTube channel Mir Bez Granits, this footage follows a cameraman as he wanders through woodland on the edge of Perm and stumbles onto something that stops him cold. As he picks his way between the trees, he comes upon a peculiar construction, sheets of plastic weighed down by wooden planks. He lifts one of the coverings, and underneath is what looks like a crude underground hideout. He pushes further into the woods and before long encounters a second structure. This one is also fashioned from plastic sheeting and tarps, rigged up above ground and suspended between two trees. A pair of jeans dangles from one branch, a plastic bag from another, and debris is strewn all over the ground. Peering inside, he can make out a figure asleep within. The cameraman backs off without making a sound, but before he heads out of the area, he comes across yet another shelter. One look inside makes it obvious that somebody calls this place home, even though nobody appears to be around right now. Branches have been layered along one wall as camouflage, and a clothesline nearby holds garments left out to dry. It's starting to look like a small community has quietly established itself somewhere out in these woods. There's simply no telling how these people would respond to an outsider suddenly showing up unannounced. What makes all of this especially eerie is where it's happening. This encampment sits deep in the wilderness, dozens of miles from the closest town. The forest has a way of concealing people just as effectively as it conceals animals, and blundering into their hidden world can be far more rattling than running into any creature that calls these woods home. The following case centers on a deeply unsettling and bizarre event. A man was out walking alone in the woods one day when something out of the ordinary stopped him in his tracks. Beside a tree, sitting atop a small log, he discovered an aged statue, and directly underneath it, a cassette tape. Driven by curiosity, he brought the object back with him, completely unaware that this seemingly minor choice was about to lead him somewhere truly horrifying. The moment he slid the tape into an old radio, the entire mood of the room shifted. Eerie sounds began filling the space, disorienting noises, screams coming from somewhere far away, and what seemed to be the sound of someone weeping. Underneath it all, a dark and unsettling melody crept along slowly. Every detail pointed toward those sounds having been captured during some kind of occult ceremony. Gripped by terror, he reaches over and shuts the radio off. But right at that very moment, something far stranger unfolds.
Yeah, no thank you.
Glancing toward the far side of the room, he spots something through the curtain, the unmistakable outline of a very elderly man, perfectly still, just standing there and staring. The sight alone is enough to send chills through anyone, yet despite his fear, he summons the nerve to approach slowly, then yanks the curtain back in one sharp motion. A scream tears through the room, and in an instant the figure is simply gone, as though he had never existed. This footage leaves one deeply troubling question without an answer. Did that old cassette carry something beyond mere sound, or had the man unknowingly awakened a force that was never meant to be disturbed? In December 2025, a YouTuber known as Urbex Hill infiltrated Parma High School while demolition crews were actively tearing it down, a place that once held the title of Ohio's largest high school, having educated more than 26,000 students. Now being dismantled section by section as security guards patrolled the perimeter hunting for intruders. The building had stood since 1953, and the community erupted in anger when officials chose to level it rather than accept state renovation funds. None of that history could save it now though, with half the structure already reduced to a pile of debris. Inside, he discovered classrooms completely destroyed, mold spreading across the walls, plastic sheeting draped throughout for asbestos abatement, and boxes of protective masks left on the floor, as if everyone had simply vanished mid-shift and never returned.
Everything is smashed. Destroyed. Oh yeah, it's done. It's already mold grown in this room somehow. Doesn't smell like it though.
Then, his drone caught something outside. Headlights from two white vehicles making slow laps around the building, and he suddenly understood that security had clocked his flashlight beam moving through the windows.
Oh, they're looking at the drone. I wonder if that's security or just like people trying to scrap the building. They got in the car as soon as they saw the drone. probably not security. I'm like right there at that window. I'll put a little arrow there. Oh wait, they're moving. Where are they going? Oh, I think they're leaving. Yeah, I think they're leaving. Yeah, they're not leaving. There's 2 white cars now. That's definitely security. They're circling the building. Might have to make a run for it.
Down in the basement, footsteps began echoing through the darkness, and a figure materialized from the shadows without warning. And for a split second, he was convinced it was over, until the stranger revealed they weren't law enforcement, just a fellow explorer who had somehow slipped past security undetected.
Somebody's down there. I don't know if those are police or not. Hello? Hi. Are you police? No. Oh, okay.
The boiler room's pressure gauges were still registering active readings, and the pipes appeared to be carrying hot water through a facility that was supposed to have been completely decommissioned.
I think this is how you get to the top. Yeah, this gotta be it. Finally. Just curious to see what was back here. Alright, let's go up. Oh, it's locked. That's crazy. It's like they still got hot water or something.
He burned 40 minutes attempting to reach the tower at the building's center, but collapsed floors and sealed doors blocked every possible route, and with security still making rounds outside, he was forced to walk away, never knowing what sat at the top.
Like 40 minutes of trying to find a way to get in here. I don't think it's possible. I think you gotta walk through all that rubble down there. And I really don't want to risk that because there's security driving around here. And I think he saw my light, so that might be it.
So why were power and hot water still running through a condemned building? Who exactly was that figure lurking through the basement in the pitch black, and what was hidden up in that tower he never managed to reach? A real estate agent is walking a group of potential buyers through a freshly renovated apartment that had sat empty for years. The property had gone through a complete overhaul. New walls, new floors, updated plumbing, and a fully redesigned interior. Everything seemed to be in perfect order. But during the walkthrough, one of the prospective buyers, a woman, decides she wants to get a better look at the bedroom at the back of the unit. She heads in by herself, takes her time looking around, and pulls open the built-in closet to check inside. That's when her face completely drops.
Yeah. Is that closet?
That's washer dryer hookups.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I'm sorry I kicked you. There's a person in there. There's a person in there? Hello?
Crouched there in the darkness of the closet is a man, silent, blank-faced, just lurking in the shadows. The woman recoils in sheer terror and bolts out of the room screaming, desperately calling out to everyone else. The realtor is left absolutely floored. The property was meant to have been fully cleared and locked down following the renovation work. Nobody had even considered the possibility that someone might still be inside. The tour comes to an abrupt halt. The would-be buyers are left rattled, and one deeply unsettling question hangs in the air. How did this man get in, and just how long had he been there? Is it possible he was already living in the building before the renovations ever began, somehow going completely undetected the entire time? The following clip comes from a channel called Hell on Earth, a crew well known for venturing into dark, forgotten places and digging up the disturbing, and sometimes criminal, secrets buried within their walls. It's February 1st, 2022, and in this particular episode, the group sets out to investigate a sprawling derelict building, only to stumble upon immediate red flags. Right from the start, they're finding personal belongings scattered around. Food, footwear, furniture, clear signs that someone had been calling this place home not long before their arrival. The further they push inside, the more convinced they become that something illegal had been going down here. Bags of soil, long stretches of cable, and an envelope stamped with the word evidence paint a pretty telling picture. Law enforcement had already swept through.
Have you seen what he's got on his head? Sub Exo, mate. Tory. Did you get that out of one of your Tory magazines? What?
Oh, it's like a screw.
It's like it's a double-ended fire.
There's a cellar. Oh my god.
What?
The staircase it goes up and around.
Oh yeah, it's two staircases. What's all in all these boxes?
No idea.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Do you know what's in all these boxes?
Compost.
Soil. Yeah. And look at this.
Some criminal has painted that beam green.
Yeah, they blocked out all windows up. Do you reckon?
If I'm thinking what you're thinking, you're thinking what I'm thinking. This grow is yet to happen.
Look, they've started taping that off. They've started taping that off.
It's not a grow yet. Look,
I thought that.
Pipe work.
Hang on a minute, have we stumbled upon a grow before it's a grow?
This is a new thing.
They've had fuckloads of bags of soil delivered.
And look at all the cables.
This is hard.
Yeah, look, there's loads there.
We've just stumbled upon a crime.
Right, boys. I on a bit of a serious note. Try not to touch things.
Why?
Because if this does.
Oh, our fingerprints out.
Barely a minute into their walkthrough, the guys are hit with something that stops them cold. Crates of soil and unmistakable traces of very recent human presence. Whoever had been here hadn't left long ago.
Well, it's not. Is that just a drop out? Is that just a drop?
No, it's stairs. But like, it's a weird drop to the stairs. I want to go upwards because the hose pipe was going to go.
Ow. This is weird, isn't it? This is really weird.
Normally we stumble across a grow after it's been...
Normally we're committing the crimes, not finding them just happening.
Right,
Go
well...
upstairs.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh!
This might be a damn bell.
That's a really old Polaroid.
Like, the neighbour, that's how, is in his driveway washing his car, so
This may be like, do you know that Dan Bell video? That Dan Bell video that ended up being fake?
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go upstairs and the real good people are gonna see it.
Original All Mix, Worldwide Organics. All still in the boxes.
Oh, guys, come up here quick. I don't know. It looks like someone's been living here.
This is the
Oh. Hello? There's an airbed in there.
Hello?
There's an airbed in there.
There's a space heater. No, potatoes and oranges, apples. Or is someone, this is like, boys, I'm a bit sketched.
Should we get out of here?
I don't know, but what,
Get out of here.
look in that room. Look in that room. Have you seen in that room?
No.
That is the grill. There are boxes.
Quick one for the comments section. If you were standing right there in their shoes, would you press on and keep exploring? Or would you be out the door before you could even finish the thought? Drop your answer below.
They're like.
Yeah, well, this is what. 2nd of January. 2nd of January on the food.
No, I don't like this.
I don't like it either. I've got a weird feeling.
There's a pair of shoes there. There's a pair of shoes there and bread.
They've gone out, haven't they? Why did the food's like in date?
How do you feel? Are you fine?
I think it's funny.
If you're fine, then I'm fine. When Lloydie's got a problem, that's when we know it's real.
No, but Lloydie can be a bit slack sometimes with danger.
Cheeky bastard.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine that.
Well, you know, if someone comes back, just say, well, we don't want any.
Why do you really let my leg? Oh, it's fine. You'll be alright.
It's not like we're
Needed 6
rival drug
stitches.
lords, is it?
Well. I was going to say something.
So some of this is the original content.
If we post this online, yeah, like do we get some boards after us because we busted their?
Well, we never.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it's active anymore.
Why did?
What kind of bloody grow? Do they just leave the door wide open? Oh, I'll just pop out for some milk and leave the door wide open.
What?
All the lights have been taken.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think you might be right. Like.
I think they've left. They left like maybe they've just left.
Well, I think they had a gardener in here, which is someone who's an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, and
that
they stay in here all
the time.
They stay in here all the time. We'll just leave it.
No.
And there's some like dried up leaves on the floor and stems. What a dead plant.
Oh, do you reckon it's just?
Yeah, the lights have gone
The
out.
lights have been taken out.
Yeah.
I reckon they've been moving out and they've just not got everything yet. Because you don't like you wouldn't leave shit like this, would you? And all the soil downstairs, they've just not come and got everything back yet.
I think we've had a think about it, and it looks like the crop's just been ready, and they've just harvested it and left. But I mean, that food you can see, it's fresh.
There's like a big pile of books, and the ceiling's really cool, and there's like a cool table.
They then start turning up food that hasn't even expired yet, which raises a deeply uncomfortable question. Can this building really be considered abandoned, or is it actively serving as cover for something sinister?
You know how I was saying I want all the picture frames?
Oh, the antique picture frames.
Yeah.
Nice.
Technically, since the last occupiers of this house were a grower, do you think it's alright to take now?
No, technically they weren't the occupiers, buddy. They didn't like own it.
No idea.
Oh shit, is that all holding up the roof?
Holding up the roof, and it's just a pipe wedged in by a few newspapers onto an old antique table that's crooked as Bible starting on me then.
Like when... Oh, look, there's loads of books in here, oh.
What's the block?
Yeah, I know, I'm trying.
Do you reckon the people that were growing weed in here came up here every now and again for a leisurely read?
No, I reckon all these books are about growing weed.
Do you know what I like about this beam? You could like use it as a seat. Like sit on it and read your book.
Sit on it, Al. It's about 400 years old and it's got woodworm.
This is very new for us. We've been to loads of old grows in the past, but... Thing is, the police will just take all the equipment and leave everything else.
Are you ready?
Yeah. What?
Evidence bag.
Yeah, evidence bag.
So that's why they're not here anymore.
They have been done.
So if we'd have been, well, the food's like start of January. So if we'd have come in December, it'd have been like active.
Yeah.
Wow. Greek yogurt.
So hang on a minute. When did this food go out of date? Did you say? 2nd of January.
It's like
It's
Christmas.
like 3 weeks ago. 3-4 weeks
Just
ago.
before Christmas. Fuck me.
If this has been busted, whoever's like affiliated and not being busted will want to come and collect everything that, like all the soil downstairs. There's a lot of money in soil.
That's when the brown envelope marked evidence comes into view, a genuinely chilling detail that locks in the theory that police had already raided the site. On the bright side, it appears whoever was running the operation had already been taken into custody. Still, it's hard not to sit with this thought. Had the team shown up even a few weeks earlier, they could have walked straight into an ongoing criminal enterprise. Luckily, everyone got out without a scratch. But this footage is a sobering wake-up call. An empty-looking building and a truly empty building are not always the same thing. So ask yourself, would you really take that chance? Meet Frank, the mind behind a well-known YouTube channel you've probably come across called Franco TV. It's a channel built around venturing into the creepy, the forgotten, and the deeply unsettling. Armed with a fearless attitude and an unquenchable hunger for the unexplained, Frank has dedicated himself to seeking out the kinds of places most people wouldn't go near, let alone after the sun goes down. In this video, Frank brings us along on a long-awaited investigation of a sprawling, abandoned mansion that has stood in quiet ruin for years. He's had this location on his radar for a while now, and tonight he's finally stepping through the door. But it won't be long before something makes him wonder whether this was a mistake. It's August 10th, 2024. As Frank closes in on the mansion, there's already something heavy hanging in the atmosphere. The surrounding area carries a dark reputation. Crime, theft, and strange activity are nothing new here. Even so, he presses on, cautious but resolute, refusing to let fear or local legend hold him back. And as he reaches the threshold of the old house, the real investigation gets underway.
I've just made it into, yet again, another dangerous part of town. But this is how I like it. I am so happy to be back in the zone right now. But I have to be very, very careful because there's a lot of thieves and a lot of choros and bandits all over this place. But I've made it into the abandoned mansion area. This is the location that I'm at. I'm hoping that I don't have any visitors here. I was looking up on Google Maps and I found it. Oh shit. I thought those were gunshots. I thought I just got shot. Holy shit. That scared the hell out of me. I legit thought somebody just came out of one of the houses and just started shooting at me. This is the entrance to the mansion. Look at this place. I'm getting nervous, so I'm trying to get a little bit hot.
Frank has made it inside the mansion at last. At first, it reads like so many other derelict locations he's explored. Paint curling off the walls, ceilings caved in, the ghostly leftovers of a life long since abandoned. The house sits in total silence, its past absorbed into every rotting surface, the air almost unnervingly still. But as he pushes further into the forgotten corridors and crumbling rooms, something about this place begins to feel deeply wrong.
There's red stains on the door. And there's more suspicious red stains on the wall. What the hell is that? What scares me with this is that this definitely looks like real blood. And this too. Looks like somebody was like putting their bloody hand around the wall like they were waiting in here for a while. But what's even more interesting is this. What the hell is this? If you guys have any idea what this is, let me know. But this is disgusting. It even stinks in this room. Is that? Hola?
It turns out Frank's instincts were onto something from the start. There was a feeling here that just wouldn't settle. An overwhelming sense of being observed crept over him, as though something unseen was following his every step from within the darkness. The thought that kept circling back was simple and unshakable. He wasn't alone in here. Even so, Frank's drive to uncover the truth outweighed the dread building in his chest. Whatever was sharing the space with him, he intended to find out.
Hola. Holy shit, this thing just went off. I want to make sure nobody walked in here. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it to night vision for now and keep exploring down the hall. But ironically, I feel a bit more safer when it's all dark because nobody sees me with a light on. Listen. The thing went off again. What the hell is up with this thing? I can't see it. I'm gonna have to turn on my light. There it is. I'm gonna take this with me. In fact, I'm gonna put this right here. I don't know if this thing is defected or what, but this is the only toy.
The fact that this toy appeared to be activating on its own left Frank with a complicated mix of feelings. Part of him felt a small wave of relief. At least it didn't seem like another person was lurking somewhere in the building trying to mess with his head. But that comfort faded quickly, because if no one else was present, then what exactly was setting the toy off?
To my other camera, I thought I felt safer completely dark. I lied. I definitely do not. Hola? Hola? What was that? I literally saw what looked like an arm. It looked like a kid's arm just pushed the door open. That's the room I just came from. Oh my god. The hell is that?
Frank couldn't quite process what his eyes had just taken in, but his camera had caught it without question. A small arm, child-sized, nudging the door open before disappearing into the dark just moments later. After a brief, stunned pause, heart hammering, every instinct firing at once, Frank chose to step outside and collect himself. Maybe from out there, he could spot movement through the windows of the old mansion, or convince himself that what he'd seen was nothing more than his imagination getting the better of him.
See if I got any movement. That's that whole hallway. And then right here is the big window. What the hell is that? Oh, shit. That look. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Oh my god, this thing. I'm sorry, I walked into a plant. You could see the difference in temperature right here on the window. Hold on, I'm turning off my light. I can't see anything. Hold on. I'm gonna turn it back on. I can't see anything. I legit just saw a kid staring at me. I thought it was something else, like an illusion or something reflecting, but it moved. It moved right in there, and if you look to the side, it doesn't seem to be anything. Check this room here. Look, what the fuck? Look at this. Oh, I'm sorry, this camera's a little bit weird. There's literally handprints. Little kid handprints all over the window. I am 100% convinced that there is a kid inside this building. Or a ghost of one. But I just seen it right here, peeking right out, and then went right back in. That's that whole hallway. And then right here is the big window. What the hell is that?
Now certain that there was a child somewhere inside that abandoned building, Frank moved without hesitation and headed straight for the security guard who had granted him access to the property. What surprised him though was the guard's reaction, or rather the lack of one. The guard was already well aware of sightings involving children in and around the house. The problem was that no one had ever actually located one, much less been able to help. One thing couldn't be argued. No child had any business being in a place like this, especially not at this hour. The whole encounter left Frank shaken to his core. Not wanting to frighten the child further and feeling helpless, he made the difficult decision to leave. He carried with him a deep sense of guilt over not being able to do more, and a haunting thought that perhaps someone was still in there, waiting, or worse, unable to get out. The night wrapped up in quiet, but the questions it left behind were anything but. With no resolution in sight, this experience sent Frank, along with thousands of his viewers, down a rabbit hole of unsettling theories that no one could quite let go of. The following video was recorded by a man named Isaac, who recently moved into a house that has been passed down through several generations of his family. On the surface, it seems like a typical old home, quiet, somewhat isolated, and filled with the kind of history that comes with buildings that have stood for decades. But once you learn what happened there long before Isaac arrived, the story begins to feel far more unsettling. The original owner of the house was a war veteran. After returning from combat, he reportedly struggled heavily with PTSD, and family members say there were nights when he would suddenly leave the house and hide outside, convinced he was hearing noises coming from a small shed in the backyard. He insisted something was in there, something moving and sometimes watching. Over time, his fear of that shed grew so intense that he eventually refused to go anywhere near it. Even during the daytime, he would avoid walking past it. Years later, Isaac says that same shed is the one place on the property that never feels right. From his bedroom window, he claims he has occasionally seen figures moving inside it. Other nights, he hears loud banging coming from the shed door, like something inside is trying to force its way out. One morning, while recording a video to answer questions from viewers about the house, something strange happened. Watch this.
I've been seeing all the comments, I've been seeing all the questions, and I wanted to make a video to answer those questions for you guys now. It's about 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. I can't sleep. So I figured, why not, right? So on to the first question. What happened to the video? Y'all hear that, right? Like that. Y'all see that?
If you look closely at the window behind him, a white figure briefly appears, then suddenly moves out of sight. And not long after that, something else happens. The door slowly opens on its own, even though no one else is there. Moments like that made viewers even more curious about the shed itself, so many began asking Isaac to go inside and check it out. Watch this.
Okay, so you guys have been asking me to take you in the shed and leave the phone in there. And I know it's been a little while since I put out a video regarding the shed, but a lot has been happening and I just needed, truly needed some time. So I took it, but just to show you, it is locked, okay? And I'm going to immediately, no cuts, as per usual. Okay, so we are walking into, God, these dolls are creepy. We're gonna walk in, well, not walk in, but we're in here now. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up. You guys got a good view, right? Windows, everything. All right, I guess I'll catch y'all. I'm out.
While Isaac is filming, a noise suddenly comes from one of the plastic containers, a sound that almost resembles a doll shifting or trying to move inside the box. Isaac later confirmed that when he checked afterward, there was a doll that wasn't inside its box. And if you're wondering, where did all those dolls come from? It turns out the granddaughter who now owns the property has a deep love for collecting dolls. Over the years, she filled the shed with them, hoping to eventually pass the collection down to her children. But after Isaac posted that video, viewers wanted more proof of what might be happening inside the shed. So they asked him to record another clip, this time from a different angle. Watch this.
And just so you know, because somebody actually said in the video yesterday, of course it happens from behind the camera. That's what's behind the camera, okay? Solid wall. That's what's behind the camera, okay? Okay. I'm out. That wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe I should close the door softer next time. Let's go ahead and try that again. Okay? Yeah. I'm gonna close it softly this time. Lord have mercy.
Isaac had already left the shed, yet something was moving inside. Some viewers believe the shed could be tied to the trauma of the veteran who once lived there, a place where fear and distress lingered long after he passed away. Others think the dolls themselves may be acting like vessels, objects capable of holding or attracting energy. Despite how uneasy it made him feel, Isaac kept receiving messages asking him to go back to the shed again, with many people claiming the activity probably only happened during the daytime. But that assumption turned out to be wrong. Watch this. This time, whatever might be inside becomes far more active. Objects begin shifting around the room and things scatter across the floor. Some viewers claim they can hear faint breathing sounds in the background, while others believe they hear a voice quietly saying "help" or possibly "let me out," while another sound resembles someone saying "get out." Ever since Halloween, Isaac says every single night he hears sounds coming from the shed, noises that suggest something inside is moving things around. So each morning he wakes up to see this. Watch this.
This is what I come into every single day. Y'all ask me why the shed. Look at this, dolls knocked over, turned around. Baseboards moved. Not baseboards, drywall moved, bed knocked over, powder all over the floor. This is what I come into every single day. You guys ask me why is the shed cleaned every single time I walk in here? It's because every single day I wake up, I have to come in and clean it because it's a mess. This is a regular occurrence. So you guys are gonna watch my morning routine. Somebody said lay it like this so you get a wider angle. I have a clip on the back, so there's no way. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. So let's maybe from here. Okay, it's about as open as a shot as I can get because I have to. Somebody said they don't have the energy to do this. Man, it's freezing out here. It's like 20-something degrees here in South Carolina, and I'm out here having to yet once again pick all this shit up. God, I'm freezing. Even the foam mattress is solid. Good God Almighty. Back in the days when I used to wrestle, I used to pray for.
While he's sweeping and talking about the temperature in the area, a voice can be heard quietly saying, "Who's there?" Another detail also caught viewers' attention. Many people said that simply looking at that object gave them a strange, uncomfortable feeling. Several viewers even asked Isaac to investigate where it came from and why it was inside the shed in the first place. For now though, Isaac hasn't found any clear explanation, so until more details come out, that shed in the backyard remains a mystery. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man many viewers already recognize because of the strange activity that has been happening inside his home for quite some time now. Recently, people began digging deeper into his past and discovered that he used to work in a cemetery. And ever since that detail came out, some viewers have started linking the disturbances in his house to something he may have unknowingly brought back with him from that job. Whether that connection is real or not is impossible to prove, but the things happening inside his home have definitely kept people talking. One morning, Nate was simply going about his routine when he suddenly heard knocking coming from his back door. At first it sounded normal, like someone politely tapping to get his attention. Naturally, he walked over to check who might be outside, but when he got there, this happened.
So I just thought I heard somebody knocking on my back door, but I looked out there and I saw nothing, so seems like the dog heard it too. Hello? It sounds like it's coming from the back door. It's locked. There's nobody there. What the hell? I don't understand this. What the hell was that? Hello? I don't understand.
The knocking can clearly be heard, yet when Nate enters the kitchen, there's no one standing there. And if you listen carefully in the background of the clip, something else can be heard. A faint whisper that many viewers believe sounds like a woman's voice. This isn't the first time people have pointed out strange voices in Nate's recordings either. In several of his previous videos, viewers claimed to hear quiet murmurs or soft responses when Nate called out into empty rooms. Because of this, some people have started advising him to stop reacting to the activity altogether, saying that acknowledging it might only encourage whatever is causing it. But if we're being honest, that's a lot easier said than done. Imagine hearing someone knock on your door and simply ignoring it, especially when you're already dealing with things like waking up with unexplained scratches on your body, objects suddenly flying across the room, and sharp items being thrown around your home when no one else is there. At that point, curiosity and fear would probably make anyone want to check what's going on. Some viewers believe the whispers might be a form of electronic voice phenomenon, brief sounds that sometimes appear in recordings even when no one is speaking nearby. But considering everything Nate claims has been happening around him, the moment in this clip feels difficult to ignore. Whether this is connected to Nate's past work, something attached to the house itself, or something else entirely. For now, the situation remains unresolved. The following footage dates back to 2022 and was captured by a CCTV camera late at night, when the area was supposed to be completely quiet. Take a look. If you focus on the right side of the screen near the gate, you'll notice something unusual. A dark shape suddenly moves and then it disappears just as fast as it appeared. At first glance, many people suggested the most logical explanation: a camera glitch. Security cameras sometimes struggle in low light, especially when there's sudden movement, insects flying close to the lens, or changes in lighting that cause strange shadows to form. And in many cases, those explanations make perfect sense. But then, there are those who take the mystery a little further. Across many ancient cultures, there are stories suggesting that humans may not be the only beings that walk this world. Folklore from different parts of the world often speaks about shadowy figures, entities that appear briefly, moving along the edges of visibility, rarely staying long enough to be clearly seen. Some legends describe them as spirits passing between places. Others believe they could be remnants of something older, something that exists alongside us but rarely crosses fully into our world. Of course, there's no way to confirm anything like that from a single clip, but when a shape appears out of nowhere, moves like something alive, and then vanishes without a trace, it's hard not to wonder what exactly passed by. So was that a glitch, someone's shadow, or something else entirely? I'll leave that one for you to decide. Now in this next video, a man who has openly shared that he lives with severe schizophrenia decided to do something unusual. Because he often experiences things that others can't see, he started recording parts of his home at night, hoping the camera might help him figure out whether what he was seeing were hallucinations or something else entirely. One night, something strange happened and he caught it on camera. Seeing this, the man initially assumes it's just another hallucination, something his mind is creating. In the past, he developed a small trick to test whether something was real or not. Whenever he saw something unusual, he would open and close the drapes or change the lighting in the room, which usually helped make the vision disappear. So he tries the same thing again. He opens and closes the curtains, expecting the movement to stop. But this time, it doesn't. To this day, no one has been able to say with certainty what caused the movement that night. In the following video, a guy is making a quick video to show his sister's fiance just how creepy the crematorium where he works can get after hours. What starts as a casual walkthrough quickly turns into something far more disturbing. Watch this.
Lights, they turn off automatically at a certain hour. And I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna walk you through now. I have a friend that works that he would see and hear things coming from these furnaces when they're burning the bodies. So when I'm walking through here, they usually put the urns out to send to the families. So when I'm walking here at night, I walk right by these urns that they put on these tables here. And then I come down, freaking out. Crazy.
Now, crematoriums already carry a heavy atmosphere. The energy there is said to linger, trapped between the living and the dead. Some even believe places like this can absorb emotions, grief, pain, fear, and release them in strange ways. Others think the constant contact with the deceased could make it easier for spirits to attach themselves to the living, especially workers who spend long nights alone. Now, back to the guy in this video. He's convinced there's a ghost haunting this crematorium, and until someone gives him a better explanation for what he saw, he's not budging from that theory. So what do you think? Paranormal encounter, or something else? You decide. Now, this next video was captured at around 3:15 in the morning, And after what happened, there was no way the guy could go back to sleep. Watch this.
Estaba por entrar a mi casa, son 3:15 de la mañana, y la luz empieza a ser así, no sé. Sinceramente siento que hay alguien acá. No sé por qué lo presiento. Si te querés mostrar, mostrate ahora. Lo estoy viendo. Hay alguien sentado ahí. Hay alguien sentado. Mostrate.
Only people who've woken up to the sound of something unexplainable can truly relate to the kind of terror this brings. That feeling of being watched, of knowing you're not alone. And for this guy, it's not a one-time event. Strange things keep happening in his home, often at the same exact hour, like something's deliberately choosing that time to make itself known. But many who followed his story were relieved to find out it wasn't the Teddy this time. The same Teddy that's moved on its own in several of his earlier videos. But that only made people wonder, what if it was never the Teddy? What if whatever's in his home simply uses different objects to get his attention? Or worse, to toy with him? Some say he's dealing with a spirit that feeds off fear, while others think something darker might be attached to the house itself. Until he shares another update, what's really tormenting him remains a mystery.